But yeah.
And we welcome you to This is Overtime on OSN. It is Lever Sage alongside Tanner Ryle, Sens insider for OSN. And yes, you are not looking at a magic trick. It's the best I got for Vegas. 7-1, the Ottawa Senators defeat the Vegas Golden Knights. Question mark? Possible? How are you, Tanner?
Doing pretty good. Much better than last night, but yeah, quite the game. Not the most fun one to watch because it was so one-sided, but I think if you're the Sens, you're going to take that.
Last night you were there in a very one-sided game that was not for the Ottawa Senators. And yeah, I mean, I think if you went out to the rink tonight, you probably enjoyed yourself. It was fun. It wasn't a great game, but it was fun. And, you know, for the Ottawa Senators, they just, honestly, for me, the star of the game was Aiden Hill in the wrong way. He just never could make a save.
Boy, have we seen a lot of that in this market.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it was completely the opposite of almost all games that you've seen. So Fabian Zetterlund scores from behind the net in the first period. And in the first period, I thought the Sens were dreadful. And I know that's harsh. They won 7-1. I thought they were dreadful. Ridley Gregg took a penalty for throwing the puck in his own zone. Like, I mean, just picking it up and throwing it. What goes through somebody's head when it happens? Like, how many times would you have to be told as a U9 player to just not do that? It's a penalty. You're not allowed to do that.
And they go on the 5-on-3 there as well.
Well, and I'm going to get to that. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but now the third straight game that possibly Thomas Chabot does not know how to change. Like, I just, it is so mind-boggling to be having all of these issues, never once with a long change. And down 5-on-4, they don't know how to change. And now it's a 5-on-3 going into the period or going into the end. Boy, Matt Sogard made an unbelievable save with about 2 seconds to go in the first period. And then Vegas came out and, you know, had some really good chances, I thought, to score. And just couldn't beat Matt Sogard. And at that point, it was all over. Like, just, you know, every single thing that they did went in the net in the second period. 3 in the second, 3 in the third. Like, think about the fact that they're up 7-0 in a game that they went over 16 and a half minutes without a shot.
It's pretty crazy.
Right? Like, in full control, 7-0 they're winning. Oh, they must have dominated. Yeah, they went 16 and a half minutes, like early in the game without a shot. Not when they're up 7-0. However, as you said, to be able to just get a win and not have to work all that hard to get it, I feel really good for Matt Sogard. You know, he gets in there, and I think one of the stories that we'll talk about, Tanner, is that Matt Sogard started and Linus Ullmark backed up. But Matt Sogard made some really good saves early in this game, and I felt good for him. Did you think he was their best player? Who did you think was good tonight?
I liked Sogard's game for sure, but I think if there's anyone that stands out, whether you look at the score sheet or not, it was Stephen Halliday in this game. 2 goals, his second and third NHL goals, plus the assist. Really unfortunate with the injury there. That did not look good going into the stanchion by the boards. And I don't believe he returned to that game, but I really liked Stephen Halliday, and I think he's showing that he's an everyday NHLer, and I don't think he should be sent back down to Belleville right now.
Well, he's definitely an everyday NHLer on this team.
Right.
Like, and that's all that matters for him. As you said, it's hard to know exactly what happened, but you hope he's going to be okay after that.
It didn't look good.
No, it did not. And, for a guy like Halliday in a game like that, you're just starting to build some momentum. And he was on the ice for 2 shifts in a row that both resulted in goals for. He was on the ice for 3 goals tonight, points in all of them. So you just hope that he's going to be okay after the game. Were you surprised that Linus Ullmark was backing up today?
Definitely, yeah. I think when we thought maybe he would have the chance to come in, I think Green even mentioned it earlier this week that this weekend was a possibility. We saw the Sogard move come down the wire yesterday, I think just minutes before we came on for the pregame. So at that point, I didn't think we'd be seeing Ullmark at all. I figured it was going to be Sogard with Reimer backing up.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely interesting. I would assume that means he's close, and maybe they just wanted to get Ullmark through a game day routine, going through the pregame, the warm-ups, all of that. So I think that's a very good sign, certainly, that he's been activated and he went through the motions here. I don't know if I see them throwing him to the Wolves against the Colorado Avalanche.
It's a weird game to lead up to. Oh, he's almost there. He's almost there. Okay, here we go. Right, but they do have 2 days off.
Yep. And then you got New Jersey on Saturday, which maybe that's a bit more of a favorable game to insert him in.
I would think so. I wonder if they look at the opponent right now and if it matters. Because I think if you had looked at Vegas, you would have thought that, you need to be, really, really good. And tonight they didn't have to be really good.
I think so, but I think Colorado is just a tier above every other contender in the league right now. That I don't know if Ullmark, who struggled with his mental game a lot, if that's the right game to put him back in there for.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, all of a sudden Colorado comes out, and even if it's not the goalie's fault, 3-0 in the first 10 minutes, and I don't know that that's great for Linus Ullmark right now. So, but good to get him sort of around the team, and as you said, the game day routines and what it's like.
And we saw him and Zetterlund going back and forth a little bit in the warm-ups. Just, it's got to be great for him to be around the team in that game day setting.
I wondered, I think if they had scored earlier, I wonder if Travis Green would have put him in. Sometimes, you put the backup goalie in, like the backup quarterback who comes in even in like in blowout wins.
I wonder if that was just a case of still trying to get a good look at Sogard, because he's played the one game this year, part of the game against Colorado, didn't look great. I thought he showed pretty well tonight. He wasn't challenged too much, but when he had to be, he looked good. Yeah. And also, I mean, Sogard went down to the AHL since that Colorado game. He had a .912 save percentage, starting to turn his game around. And, it's hard to say what his future is with this organization, just based on Merilainen kind of leapfrogging him on the depth chart. His contract's up this year. He was on a one-way already this season. So it's good for Sogard, I'm sure, his confidence to get a look like that. I wonder if they do go back to him against Colorado. I think that's certainly a question to have.
Yeah, but I would think that he would be the guy, because you don't want to put Ullmark in. You definitely aren't going to call up Merilainen and put him back in against Colorado, considering what happened last time. And, James Reimer has been okay, but I could argue that Mads Sogard gives you a better chance to win than James Reimer does. So I think it'll be one of those two. I do not see Linus Ullmark playing in that game. I was just checking because I don't think Colorado plays again. Could be mistaken.
Against the Senators? Or between now and then?
Between now and then. Like, they played today, beat the Leafs 4-1 in Toronto. And that's a decent break for them if they don't play again. I'm just double checking. I thought I checked this earlier to make sure that they did not.
Yeah, I'm not seeing another game. Looks like
Yeah, they don't.
they have a back-to-back, so they play us, the Senators, on Wednesday, and then Thursday they're in Montreal.
But from a Sunday afternoon to a Wednesday night, that's a decent break.
Yeah,
for them, because you would think, they probably already, depending on the weather, got here and are here now and will be here until Wednesday night. So, for a team on the road, they don't get that much, but you wonder if it's in their minds. We just kicked Ottawa's ass. It was easy. We got 3 days off, and maybe it's hard for them to get charged up come Wednesday night. Who knows? Ethan is back. Great to hear from you, Ethan. I would argue Reimer gets Colorado, get the veteran in, especially after the disastrous 26 minutes Mad Sogard had against Colorado earlier. Yeah, but I don't fault Sogard coming in the middle of a game against the best team in the NHL on the road. And yes, there were a couple for sure. He was not very good in that game, but the starter wasn't very good in that game either.
Yeah, and I would think it's almost a chance for Sogard to prove he can come in against that team when he's not cold. And probably knowing full well that might be the last chance he gets in the NHL this season.
Yeah.
Show the team what you can do. Because why not? After that, you would assume it's Reimer and Ullmark's crease.
No question.
And he's trying to build an NHL future for himself, whether that is or isn't in Ottawa. I know in the insider trading or whatever segment it was, they were talking about Sogard as a potential piece that might be on his way out of Ottawa by the deadline. I don't know what other team would really have that much interest in him right now. But
yeah, I think that comment made was more that individual believes that he doesn't have a future within the organization, and he's kind of casting him aside. That individual does that
once in a while.
Yeah. Don't have a lot of time for that individual. So I don't really, I heard him say that, but I don't really listen to that guy.
Yeah.
What that guy says doesn't matter to me, good or bad. It just doesn't have any effect on me. So I don't really believe, it was really nice of them in that segment to go through, well, the free agents. The names you're going to hear are the free agent. Thanks. Thanks, tips, Mr. Insider guy, to be able to list off the free agents.
Yeah, we'll have our own insider trading. Who's getting traded by the Sens here?
Well, we talked about it last night. Claude Giroux, to me, is a guy that could fetch some value for this team, and you'd have to think he would want out unless, it's up to him and his family that they want to stay. But from a hockey perspective and what he would have to left to give in his career, it's a prime opportunity to go to another team that's got a chance.
Maybe that's how you can have a first round pick in this upcoming draft.
Yep. If you pit a couple of teams against each other that really need or want a Claude Giroux, you should be able to get a decent value back. That guy is a lot of good things for your hockey team.
I mean, if Kiefer Sherwood gets you 2 seconds plus, you would think Claude Giroux with that.
Yeah, just his presence and what he would mean to your team in the playoffs and the little things that he does. Everyone knows about the face-offs, but some of the leadership, just knowing where to be on the ice, never really panicking in different situations. And then what it would mean to him to win, what it would mean to him to be part of a group. If a couple of teams really think that he's a missing piece, that's up to Steve Staios. We talked last night, and I will sort of reiterate, Steve Staios hasn't done a great job with this team. And now they're at a crossroads in their season where Steve Staios needs to make some good decisions. So just like we're going to find out about some of the players, and we're going to find out about the GM here coming up soon, because it's been iffy at best. There's been a couple of okay things, but there's been a couple of not okay things. So Claude Giroux would be number 1. I would also think about Thomas Chabot. I would. I don't know how much you're going to get for Thomas Chabot. I don't think he's one of those guys that at the deadline is going to get a ton of value, but you know what you're getting in a contract. He's got, he's not a unrestricted free agent going into the year. So you know exactly what you're going to get. He can move the puck out of his zone. And as a second pair or third pair defenseman on a really good team, like imagine like a deep defense scorer that trades for Thomas Chabot and puts him out as a second or third, like 15 to 18 minute guy instead of playing 22 minutes and not knowing how to change most nights. Like he's a pretty valuable guy.
He is in year 6 out of 8.
Yeah, so he has
even 8 million.
Yeah, 2 years left at 8 million. So it's a bit pricey, but in a world where you have a guy that can skate the puck out of the zone, and you know what you're going to get as far as salary, and like that guy to me placed or slotted better could be better than he is right now on Ottawa, like on a good team. And if you're Ottawa, you do have to consider what $8 million in cap space would be. Like that is valuable. You're not going to get a ton for him, but if you were able to not retain and get something for him and get $8 million off the books, there's where I think you could go out and do something to change the team. And it would send a shot through the locker room as well. Hey, this core, not good enough anymore. I think Drake Batherson's a guy that I would want to keep around, but I'd be listening on him. I'd be listening on most people, except for Stützle and Sanderson.
Right.
Ethan says no team is looking for an $8 million contract for a third pair defenseman. Well, I disagree with that, Ethan. I'm not saying he's an absolute third pair defenseman. I'm saying on a really good team headed towards the playoffs, maybe he slots in the top 4. Maybe he slots in somewhere else. But maybe a team wants Thomas Chabot to just solidify their defense. He's very good at that. Not as good as Jake Sanderson, but still like a couple strides and out of your zone guy. And put in the right environment, a team might say, yeah, he might be 4 or 5 now on a team that has desires to win the Stanley Cup. And then maybe he gets up to be a 3-4 for the last couple of years, depending on what they do in the summer. Teams are willing to do funny things. I think Ethan's looking at it from a perspective of, the entirety of the contract, 2 more years and all that stuff. People will do some funny things to get decent players down the stretch drive and into the playoffs. And it's actually crazy to me, but they worry about it later. They really do. Like, we got a good player that can help our team now, and we'll worry about the player and the contract and everything else in the summer. I personally think it would be valuable for Ottawa to get rid of an $8 million cap hit. So Giroux, Chabot, for me, would be 1-2. What about you?
It's tough. I mean, you have to have that conversation with Giroux, but of course, if he does want to go, I think he is your number 1. And yeah, I'm probably between a Chabot or a Batherson, I think. Maybe, I know you just brought him in last summer, but I wonder about like a Dylan Cousins as well. Just slotting wise, you've got Shane Pinto right there, who's arguably a better player,
Mhm.
who could slot into that number 2C. And you can't be paying $7 million to your second and your third line centers. You're going to have to pick one of those players eventually, unless one of them is going to become a winger, because the winger depth in this organization is not good enough. And you move one of those guys out, you got Ridley Gregg right there, who you can put at center on the third line. They've got a surplus of a very desirable location or very desirable position at center. Their center and their left D is their best depth. They need right shots. They need wingers. So I'd be looking at one of those centers. I don't think you would move Pinto. I don't think you'd move Stützle, obviously.
Right.
Greg, for me, is looking better than Cousins right now. So to me, he might be the odd man out. And I know you just traded for him a year ago.
And long term, that would be both Pinto and Greg for me would be ahead of Cousins long term down the middle. Now, if Greg or Cousins turned into an effective winger, okay.
And I think Greg has, but you still have the Cousins and Pinto debate.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Ridley Gregg because he has been better lately, but he went through a long stretch this year where he was not very effective. And quite frankly, he does some dumb things on the ice, like tonight. Like there are some nights where it's just, does this guy think at all? But I understand the value. Like, I like the player and I like the agitation and I like what he brings. He gets under people's skin. He's a decent player. Probably more upside than Dylan Cousins for me.
I think you also have to consider the cap hits of the 4 million versus the 7.
Agreed. So where would you start if you were looking to dismantle the Sens? So you're suggesting midseason getting rid of two of the biggest voices in the room, including the most tenured senator, and you don't think that has a negative impact on the Senators' room?
I'd love to know where this room is right now if you think this is going to have a negative impact, because like we've talked about over the last couple of weeks, every time they face adversity, they tuck their tail between their legs. And what happens? Yeah. Like, what do you mean this room?
This room looks like one of, if not the most fractured room in the National Hockey League.
Maybe and by sending those two out, I think your two bigger voices all of a sudden become Jake Sanderson and Tim Stützle, who have been your two most consistent players over the last number of weeks. And those are the two guys you're probably putting the letters on when the other two are gone.
Such a good point. To be able to raise the value of others in the room who are looking to take a step in the leadership department, they're not going to leapfrog Claude Giroux. So you take Giroux out, it does give opportunity for other voices in the room. But this is not, hey, Claude Giroux wants to be an Ottawa Senator, and Lever's agent Tanner Ryle are trying to get Claude Giroux out of town. That's kind of the way you're making it seem when you say, so you're suggesting mid-season. Claude Giroux is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. That's on a $2 million contract that brings way more than $2 million, and he's on a team that is second last in the Eastern Conference. You don't think he's going to be valued around the league, Ethan? And who's the other big voice? You think Dylan Cousins is a big voice in the Senators?
I think he's talking about Shabbat there for the longest tenured. Yeah, I think he's talking about Giroux and Shabbat here.
So for Shabbat, yeah, he's a voice, but you want to keep all of the big contracts and the big voices and see how the team does? Like, at some point, there's a shot across the bow that this core is not good enough.
And yeah, and like your Lars Eller, David Perron, Nick Cousins, that doesn't make a difference on this team. If it's a big move that needs to happen, it has to be a core player. And I mean, I'm not saying I want to get rid of Giroux. I think you're going in there and you're begging Giroux, please stay and please be a part of the solution here.
Of course you are.
He's such a big part of that room. But out of respect for Claude Giroux, who came here and chose to come and play here and make your team better, that you have failed over the last 4 years to build a team around and get him a Stanley Cup before he retires. You are going to him and you are saying, Claude, do you want to stay here? Because we want to have you here. Please stay. But do you want to win a Stanley Cup? Because if you do, tell us where you want to go. And out of respect, we will send you there. Because Claude Giroux deserves that.
Can't say it better than that. Claude Giroux is not a guy that anybody would want to get rid of, but Claude Giroux might want to leave. In fact, I'm going to say that he does. And if he doesn't, good for him, but it's on him. It's not on anybody else.
There has to be a part of him that wants to. I can't see Claude Giroux not wanting a Stanley Cup.
Again, if you're 38 years old and you've done everything possible in the 3 years and it's not going to work out here, that you're not going to win a Stanley Cup in your time here, and you do have skill to go and lend another team, and you probably only have a couple of years left in your career, why would you not want to go and take a chance?
And he already did it once before. I'm not saying he's from Philadelphia, but he played 1,000 games there. He's the captain for almost a decade. And he said, hey, this core's not going to win a cup. I'd like to go and try and win one. So he went to the Florida Panthers.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that you can blame somebody that when you work that hard all the time and you have for your entire life and you know that your time is very short, why wouldn't you want to win?
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a novelty to playing in your hometown, but at the end of the day, when he calls it a career, he's going to remember the Stanley Cup a whole lot more than the city he was playing in.
There's also a novelty to playing in Montreal as a French Canadian in the playoffs and wondering what that might be like.
And I would hate it. I would hate it pretty bad to see him in a Montreal Canadiens jersey. But I get
your respect for Claude Giroux would overcome like the actual hate. You would hate that he would leave, but you wouldn't hate him when he played for Montreal. You would just be sort of like jealous that Montreal is in the position and Ottawa's not, right? Like it's the same. I go back and this is an old reference, but I go back to Roy Halladay. When Roy Halladay pitched for the Toronto Blue Jays, he was the greatest pitcher on a team that sucked. And finally, like after staying, he was like, well, I kind of want to go and try and win a World Series. And he wrote a big letter in the paper. And it like there wasn't a Jays fan that was like, yeah, you're a jerk. Can't believe you left. It was, we're going to cheer you on, man.
Yeah, I'm sure if this happens, I don't think anybody's going to be blaming Giroux. I think a lot of the blame's going to go straight to Staios.
And it should. Because as you said, they have not put Claude Giroux in a position to win. And I mean, Claude Giroux probably wouldn't say that. I have a question for you. I'm going to change gears here a little bit.
Sure.
ESPN put out their latest article that was an NHL power rankings, and I don't love the power rankings. I don't know if you remember. I am not a power ranking guy. I think it's actually one of the dumbest concepts in all of sports. This team is hotter than they were last week. Like they have the Senators up at 19 from 22. And it's like, okay, sure. What that means, I don't know. But they also came up and sort of joined because maybe even they knew power rankings suck. So they put what they believed each team's top celebrity fan is. And immediately I went to
like Tom Green or something like that.
No, I went to the Devils to see if it was Tate McRae.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking Sens.
But it wasn't. And they actually gave Tate McRae to the Calgary Flames.
Oh,
I know. It hurts so bad.
I don't know if you've seen the Spit and Chicklets guys are saying that she's a sleeper agent for Team Canada, trying to get the intel from the USA locker room.
Oh yeah, that's something that Spit and Chicklets would say.
Yeah, I wonder which one of their hosts would have put that out there. But
and for the Devils, it was Kickball Dad. Who?
Okay, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, the content creator guy that. And I'm like
Costco and stuff.
I would have liked Tate McRae, but And they're trying to do it like pretty, like not all time, but they're trying to do it like sort of recently. So if you
Yeah.
think in that sort of recent, if you're not looking it up, if you think in that sort of recent spot, what would you say for the Ottawa Senators?
If you're going recent, I'd say Talk because he's been a big one. He played at the All Star game and wore the Sens jersey a couple of years ago. He's from
Who?
Stittsville as well. He's a pop singer. I'm serious. He played at the All Star game a couple of years ago in Toronto, and he wore a Daniel Alfredson jersey.
Yeah.
But I think that would be one. I think I've seen one of these lists before that had Rihanna on there.
Yeah, because she wore,
The jersey one
the
time.
jersey
Yeah.
once. So they actually have heated rivalry with the Sens selling the jerseys and the proceeds going to Ottawa Pride Hockey. That's who they put for Ottawa.
That's not a celebrity.
I know.
That's a
Oh,
merch
you're
campaign. Like
you're disappointed.
that doesn't make sense. Like if I'm making
Yeah.
a list about celebrities, I'm not going to say, "Oh, this team's jerseys."
However,
What?
let's get to who the Montreal Canadiens representative is. Think recent.
Sami Zayn?
Sami Zayn! Oh. Fantastic.
Speaking of Claude Giroux lookalikes.
Yeah, there you go. Claude Giroux, Sami Zayn beside each other. I was pumped up about Sami Zayn. Trying to think of, they had Alphonso Davies for the Edmonton Oilers. They had Jackson Dart, who is from Utah and recently went to a Mammoth game.
I assume it's like Will Ferrell for the Kings.
Yes. It is. For the Leafs, it was Will Arnett. So let's not talk about boring, terrible Sammy. You want to talk about your boring, terrible hockey team instead, Ethan?
We'll take Sami Zayn in AEW.
Exactly.
In a heartbeat.
And yes, Ottawa got a win tonight. 7-1 over the Vegas Golden Knights, but I was not impressed. Z Gibbon is in. We all know the biggest Devils fan is David Putty. Tanner's like, who's David Putty? Do you know? No?
No. Not a clue.
From Seinfeld.
I've not watched Seinfeld.
See, Z McGibbon. This hurts my heart because Zach is old enough to know David Putty and Devils. They went to the game and their faces painted and him and Elaine. But Tanner is so young, he doesn't even know that.
I know of Seinfeld. I've got friends that watched it.
Yes,
I just haven't seen it myself.
But everyone knows David Putty.
Okay.
An outrageous take, Ethan. I'm not exactly waving pom-poms for WWE. And Zach even knows how outrageous that is. And he's not a big WWE guy.
Neither am I. I haven't watched a WWE show in like a year.
But even you know that's an outrageous take.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh leading Vancouver in the third period. So it looks like Pittsburgh's gonna get another win. Colorado beat Toronto 4-1 today. Seattle doubled up New Jersey 4-2. A couple of games going on: Florida, Chicago, Anaheim, and Calgary. No score. And I believe, unless I missed it, it's 17-13 Seahawks over the Rams at halftime to see who's going to face the New England Patriots in the worst Super Bowl ever.
There we go. I was half right. My predictions yesterday. I took the Patriots and the Rams.
Yeah, well, it snowed heavily in Denver in the second half, and it might have been the worst half of football I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, so bad. Teams couldn't, they just couldn't do anything. So I'm not putting up Ethan's takes on Sami Zayn anymore.
It's a guy that started watching wrestling 2 years ago. So I don't know what that says.
Okay, Capitals fan, Pat Sajak. Do you know who that is?
No.
Oh my God. McGibbon, he's killing me.
Pat Sajak.
The host of Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, okay.
Forever and ever and ever. The Anaheim Ducks. Mickey Mouse.
Oh my God.
Marshawn Lynch for the Seattle Kraken. Chicago Blackhawks. You can get this.
Is it Punk?
Yeah.
PG Punk.
CM Punk. ESPN getting in their 2 wrestling references on their NHL article. That, folks, is called cross promotion. And you know what? You have to call it. There's Ethan. You don't know Pat Sajak. There's Zach McGibbon. How do you not know Pat Sajak?
I probably do. I don't know. I don't think I've ever sat down and actually watched Wheel of Fortune.
Yes. Well, we've gone over all the things you don't watch in this last 10 minutes. Don't watch Seinfeld. Don't watch Wheel of Fortune. Don't watch WWE.
Just watch my miserable hockey team, apparently. Well, less so tonight, but
yeah, look, the Sens got a win tonight, and good for them. Like they needed a win, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but I'm just saying that they still made the stupid mistakes in the first period and into the second period that they've made time and time and time again. And most other teams would have buried them, or at least been up in the hockey game, like 2-1, 3-1 at that point. Because I mean, the goal that Ottawa scored was from behind the net. Like this was not a first period. Yes, they were up 1-0, but they scored from behind the net. They didn't get a shot for 16 and a half minutes from the first into the second. Ridley Gregg closed his hand on the puck and threw it like a football. And Thomas Chabot, for the 3rd game in a row, doesn't know how to change and got another penalty, or gave up like a 2-on-1. Oh, and by the way, they gave up a breakaway to Mitch Marner, and Mitch Marner missed a penalty shot in the first couple of minutes as well and never even got a shot off. All I'm saying is that if you did that again and Mitch Marner gets a breakaway and you give Vegas a 5-on-3 and you do the stupid things that they did, most times Vegas is going to win the game. They didn't tonight, and that's good for Ottawa. It gets them back out of the loss column, and it gets them a win.
I want to see if we can find the deserve to win-o-meter. Okay. Having around 59% for Ottawa.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because as soon as Ottawa got up, they scored, 3 goals on 3 consecutive shots in the second period?
Yeah. The Vegas Golden Knights did not look like the Vegas Golden Knights.
No. And like the second that, I mean, they got 3 goals on 3 consecutive shots. And by the way, just so I'm not lying. So at 9:25 of the first period, Fabian Zetterlund scored. They did not get another shot until Dylan Cousins scored at 5:51 of the second period. So what is that? That's 10 minutes and 35 seconds plus almost 6 minutes. Like 16 and a half minutes from the first to the second that they went without a shot. But after the deserve a win-o-meter, after the 3-0 goal, Vegas was like, yeah, this isn't our night. Like,
when you saw the celebration from Rasmus Anderson when they finally got one, and good for him getting his first as a Golden Knight, but
yeah,
he didn't care.
And I didn't even understand on the broadcast, and this is where I hope like Zach McGibbon's not going to give us this on Belleville Sens broadcast or Kingston Frontenac's broadcast or Quinty Golden Hawks or Trenton Golden Hawks,
Quinty Red Devils,
or whatever the hell broadcast he does each and every night. And Zach, whatever broadcast you were doing from behind the net the other night, is that like the best broadcast location you've ever been on? Like, he's taking a picture and showing people, hey, tune in. Here we are for the game. He's behind the net. How are you going to see anything? But Zach, don't do this because I don't know how intently you were watching, but when Jordan Spence scored from the point, he did what he usually does. He kind of just wrists it towards the net, which is great. He gets the puck towards that net area more than any other person. I wish Thomas Chabot would learn a lesson from him.
Mhm.
He literally just shovels it towards the net all the time, and that's a good thing. But he put it towards the net. It clearly went off the Vegas defenseman's knee and into the net. Well, Jamie McLennan, he could not figure this out. He just couldn't figure it out. It was like, well, I think, who did he say in front got it? Ridley Gregg. I think Ridley Gregg got it. And it's like, no, Ridley Gregg didn't get it. No, and then now he's showing another replay. Like after the goal goes in, there's another whistle. I think Brady Tkachuk got it. No, he didn't, Jamie. It's the third goal. Went off the guy's knee. Saw it the first time. Don't know why you can't see the monitor. Ethan says, I'm begging for Ottawa positivity. We haven't had many chances to be positive on them. Okay. Well, what do you want to be positive about? Do you think they played awesome tonight?
No. I think if we saw the actual Vegas Golden Knights, that this game would have been a lot closer and could have gone the other way. Again, I think we got a little taste of what a lot of teams have seen from the Senators and their goaltending.
Yep.
Tonight with Aiden Hill, not his best night.
Nope.
Very undisciplined still. If you want to be positive, I mean, Stephen Halliday looked great. Captain got 3 points. So good for Brady. I liked a bit of the physicality as well. Jordan Spence with the big hit into the bench. Noticed Clevin a little bit more. Brady as well. Just playing with a bit more of an edge. Penalty kill didn't get scored on. Zub had that one block there that looked pretty nice.
You know what? That was a great play by Artem Zub over Mark Stone, who basically had an empty net, and he got back and was really strong on Mark Stone and didn't let him score. That was absolutely a positive. They look like they cared. And I guess to the point of changing the coach on the penalty kill, they look a little bit more, their effort looks better.
I thought overall they did look a little bit more engaged in this game, especially compared to yesterday.
Yeah. But like from both games, you can see when it starts to not go your way and you kind of know it's not your night. Ottawa had that happen to them last night. Vegas had it happen to them tonight. That stuff happens. How about Evan Bouchard last night with 6 points? It was quite an evening.
Very polarizing player.
Yes. They still beat a legitimate cup contending team going into a 2-day break and have momentum before Wednesday. Good stuff. I can guarantee you, Ethan, you think they have momentum? I guarantee you the players do not think they have momentum. It doesn't mean they won't come out and play well on Wednesday. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying as they're sitting in their homes tonight after the weekend, they do not feel like they got their footing.
Especially with all the blown games before that as well.
Yeah. Like they
just stacked up and just where they're at in the standings.
They don't have momentum. You want to believe that you have momentum, Ethan. But they do not believe that.
The only one positive I'm looking at is that they've got a 2-day break here, so they're going to get a practice in to get Allmark some more reps. And I think Mike Yo's only had one full practice to work on that new PK, any of the new systems that they're testing out. So that should be good as well. Interested to see what the lineup is going to look like, if they're going to bring Matt and Paolo back in or if Jensen stays in, how the forwards shake up. Hopefully Stephen Halliday is all right.
I would say for me, I would doubt Jensen would come in against such a fast team in the Columbus Blue Jackets or the Colorado Avalanche.
They did put Matt and Paolo in the other Colorado game.
Right.
But that was on a back-to-back as well.
Here's a question for you. If you haven't seen, I don't know if you have Sens Twitter up. Do you?
I just pulled it up now. I'm trying to see if we got any audio yet from Travis Green.
With an assist on Nick Jensen's goal, Thomas Chabot passed Radek Bonk and is now 6th in Sens history with assists.
I did see that earlier.
Oh. Do you know the 5 guys? Do you have it in front of you?
I don't have it in front of me, and it was Alfie Spezza. Don't remember beyond that. Carlson was probably up there.
Yep. Wade Redden, who was in town last night, and Alexei Yashin.
Yeah, those are probably the next 2 guys I would have guessed.
The crazy thing is Tim Stützle's on the list. He's 8th.
I did see that, and he's not too far behind. Too.
No.
He's probably going to pass Shabby.
Yes, he's going to pass both Bonk and Chabot soon.
Probably before the end of the season, yeah.
And
maybe even before the break.
early next year, he'll pass Yashin as well. Like Tim Stützle has 241 assists.
Kachuk's right behind him too, isn't he?
Yeah. With 3 tonight, so. Part of, just being with the team the last few years, right? And understanding that, I mean, it's just continued to go on and on and on. So, yeah. The other part about the break, too, that you said, I would agree. You can't really worry about what other teams are doing, but it is also interesting to note that, yes, they had a little bit of travel, but literally probably got home or got into their hotel at the same time that the Ottawa Senators got home from this game and in Ottawa. So the Avalanche will have the exact same rest and time for practice and to get themselves ready to go. Anything else, Tanner, that's on your mind?
I think we pretty much touched on everything. Yeah, just I guess looking to see how a few stories play out over the next couple of days. If we see a change up at the goaltending position, any update on Stephen Halliday, and then we're rolling right into Colorado.
Yeah, so for Ottawa, this is a nice little bit of a break here. And then the Colorado Avalanche on Wednesday, and then another couple of days off before New Jersey. So the fact that they only play once in the next 6 days, but then ramp it up, right? They play Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So they have 4 games in 6 days after that. So home to Colorado and New Jersey, and some time to work on themselves this week at home, practicing, see what happens with the goalie, Allmark getting in. And then it's those 3 games on the road in Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Philadelphia before the Olympic break. And then, it doesn't get much easier when they come back from the break because they have Detroit at home, and then they're in Toronto, in Edmonton, Calgary, Seattle, Vancouver at the end of that trip. I mean, not great teams, Seattle and Vancouver, but you're also facing them at the end of a 5-game Western road trip. So, and by then some decisions will be made with the team. I think a couple of decisions will be made before the break, before the Olympic break.
I agree. I mean, we've heard all about it, that there's sort of a soft artificial trade deadline before the Olympics. I think that makes sense. People want to have their moves done before players go and potentially get hurt in Milan. So, I could see a move happening, who knows, in the next week and a half.
And they don't want players, they want to give them the peace of mind. Hey, you've made the move. You've gotten over here. You've played a game or 2. We've got you in. And now go over, have a great Olympics, and come back and it's go time at that point. It makes all the sense in the world.
Right. Got another nonsense thing here that's been making the rounds today. Did you see the William Nylander little gesture that he gave the camera today?
No.
So the camera panned over to the press box at the Leafs Colorado game as they were losing. All the injured players up there. You got Chris Tanev. And Nylander's in the corner. And he realizes that the camera is on him. And he looks at it. And he looks right into the camera and goes like this. Flips the camera the bird. And it cuts away. He's now come out and apologized for, quote, a moment of frustration. For doing that.
That's that's not a moment of frustration. That's just being a.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. That's probably one of the most, and I'm not putting this on him, but one of the most insincere, like that's just Leafs PR getting to him and saying, William, you're going to apologize and you're going to do it now. Like, that's it. There is no, Nylander felt bad and then he went like, come on.
Definitely not.
No. They just felt like they needed to do that, and then that's it. All right, my friend. Well, we'll have a lot more. We'll have some stuff tomorrow on the NFL playoffs and leading into that on OSN. But for actual This Is Overtime, this will be it for a bit. Only one game this week. Feels weird, doesn't it? Like, well, all the times you're kind of getting in like today and yesterday and Thursday and Tuesday, and now it's like once this week.
Yeah. Now you got the weekend with New Jersey.
Yeah. Big wrestling weekend next weekend too. Looking forward to that.
That's true. Yeah. So I've heard.
Well, the big chill on Friday night.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't wait. We got the balcony seats. Anyone else going to be at C4 Wrestling?
Exactly.
Very excited for that.
All right. Have a great night, Tanner. Thank you very much.
You as well.
The Ottawa Senators with a 7-1 convincing victory over the Vegas Golden Knights, and their next game comes up Wednesday at home against the league-leading Colorado Avalanche, and we will talk to you then.